Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our morning show. This is Skyman, the tourist man, Black Africa. The government has put Kenya into a pooping contest. Mashidano ya ndovu kunya. Je, are we going to come out successfully? Are we going to win this contest? Ni nani ambaye anaweza kushidana na ndovu kunya? Kwa sababu hili ni jambo ambalo haliwezekani. But when you look at what Kenya Kwanza is doing, the government is getting it wrong. Because the government has started so many war fronts with our neighbors, in the international community, with the opposition. I want us to look at the various areas where, when you look at Kenya, you can see why I'm saying we are in a pooping contest. If you're here for the first time, you can take that 1 second and like this video. And for our subscribers, we are very, very grateful. If you're never subscribed, kindly take that 1 second and subscribe to this channel. Here we discuss politics. The first area where we are in a contest is in Sudan. We have seen Sudan rejecting the arbitration of Kenya. William Samoei Ruto has been rejected by the Sudanese government. The people of Sudan, the generals, have even dared Kenya that they can even start war with Kenya. This is very, very disgusting when you look at it. Again, you remember I talked about Moses Korea na vile ambavyo alikuwa anasemea kwamba we can actually bomb Sudan and bring the generals down. This is wrong in my view. This is starting a war which is very, very unnecessary if you ask me. Because how do you start a war with your neighbor and you are not very, very sure of what is being involved there? You don't know what is in contest. The other area is in Tanzania. Jana, for those of you who follows the politics of this nation, the National Assembly yesterday was talking about Suluhu Hassan. Suluhu Hassan is the president of the Republic of Tanzania. And this is very, very reckless if you ask me. Discussing a neighboring country, discussing a sisterly president. Kwa sababu unapomtazama Suluhu Hassan, utaona mtu ambaye ni mnyenyekevu, utaona mtu mwenye busara, utaona mama wa taifa hasa, utaona mtu ambaye hata hawezi kumdhuru inzi sebuse mwanadamu. But now, our reckless members of parliament were talking about Roskokos doing what in a very, very ridiculous manner. This should not happen, if you ask me. This should not come from the members of the National Assembly. Because they are no longer honorable members. They are dishonorable members, if you ask me. The way they were talking, the kind of adjectives that they were using is wrong, in my view. Even if they were trying to bring Raila Amolo Odinga in the debate. The fact of the matter, I think Tanzania cannot take this rightly. And I believe it's just a matter of time before Tanzania respond to this. I don't know what you think when you look at this situation. Again, we have seen William Samoei Ruto on another war front with the United Nations. And because he was saying that whatever was being said by the Human Rights Office in the United Nations is wrong. And all the members of Kenya Kwanza government were actually attacking the United Nations Human Rights Office. Again, even USA itself has been under threat by William Samoei Ruto, none other than William Samoei Ruto, when he talked about the issue of dollarization of the economy. But let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, do you think, unafikiri hivi ni vita ambavyo William Samoei Ruto anaweza akashinda? Je, unaona maana sasa ya mtu kuchidana na ndovu kunya? Waona kwa nini I'm saying the country has been put in a pooping contest? You cannot win. This is a war. You cannot win. Kenya cannot win. That is my take. Again, there's also the issue of Russia. And when you start war with Russia, sababu tunaona kwamba when you start now bringing, or when you're now working with all fronts, USA, China, Russia, what, then you involve the superpowers here. Although many people say that Russia is not usually very much concerned with what happens in Africa, it is not usually the case. Indeed, Russia is very, very interested with what happens in Africa. And that is why you see them very much interested in Sudan. That is why they have established a military base, I think, in the Red Sea, something that the Americans do not like. So, what are the consequences of this contest? Ni matokeo ni gani? Madhara ya kushindana na ndovu kunya ni yapi? The first thing, in my view, is Kenya is likely to lose big time, especially as far as businesses are concerned. Because we have seen William Samoei Ruto, for instance, trying to rally Africans not to attend summits held by superpowers. Akasema kwa mfano kwamba haina haja ya marais wote wa Afrika kuingia katika basi, kuabiri basi, na unaenda kusikiliza mtu mmoja, rais mmoja, and the best they can get is a photo session, which doesn't take even 1 minute. So, Kenya will reap big time, and the losses will be very clear to all. That is the truth of the matter. We are likely to lose very, very important opportunities, especially like something like the AGOA and many other things. You know, America comes with so many opportunities, a lot of opportunities, and even our products may face rejection in some of these markets. Again, we are likely to have hostile neighbors, hostility from our neighbors, and you have seen it, if you ask me. Because you see, it doesn't mean that Kenya is loved, by the way. Kenya is not very much loved. We have seen Kenya with conflict with Somali. Remember the boundary that was contested and was taken to the International Criminal Court. And I don't know how this case ended. Again, now when you start a war with our neighbor Sudan, this is likely to have a lot of hostility. You're likely to face a lot of hostility. And when you have hostile neighbors, you are likely to face serious terrorist attack. That is the fact of the matter. One of the reasons why Somali Al-Shabaabs have been attacking Kenya is because we don't have a good relationship with the Somalis. It's because of the way we have been handling them. One of the reasons why we have to build a very, very big perimeter wall between the border of Somalia and Kenya is because of these hostilities. This is what happens when you are not in good terms with your neighbors. Again, Kenya may become a shame in the international community. It will be, you know, when you look at the way Kenya is messing up in the international community, in the foreign affairs, because you realize that clearly Kenya seems not to have a clear foreign policy. Kenya seems not to know what is supposed to be done. Our CS foreign affairs doesn't seem to know what is supposed to be done, doesn't seem to have the necessary knowledge. And I think it is high time that William Samoei Ruto reshuffle his cabinet and go for meritocracy, not royalty. Because it is only through meritocracy that this country can benefit. Again, our country may become very, very vulnerable. And we have seen it ourselves. Because, you know, yesterday, almost all the system came down. Only the price of Uga did not come down. And many steam apia ikushuka. But we saw almost everything. And even up to now, there are some apps that are not functioning. That is a fact of the matter. Even today, there are some systems that are still not working. I've tried some and I've seen one or two that were not functioning as early as this morning. And because of this cyber attacks, we may end up risking vital installations, like even our security might be compromised, our lives may be compromised, our airlines might be compromised. So what is the need of this pooping contest? Why not go for a friendship? We need to be very friendly with our neighbors. We need to be very friendly with the international community. We just look for interest without antagonizing our neighbors, without antagonizing the superpowers, because it is the Kenyans who start to lose. We will lose big time if this happens, if this continue happening. And by the way, even that idea of putting the country in a very high voltage politics, it is, if you ask me, it is the worst thing if you ask me. It is risking the lives of Kenya if you ask me. Because you see, whatever happens to us, Whatever happens to this country, it will happen to all of us. The cyber attack happened to all of us. Nobody was spared. Whether you are in Azimio, whether you are in Kenya Kwanza, nobody was spared. It is high time that William Samoei Ruto tell his people, this is not a shareholding company. This is our country. It is high time that William Samoei Ruto calls his cabinet into order. That verbal diarrheaing. It is high time he sack people like Moses Kuria. It is high time ambapo anaambia Gachagua, you cannot continue insulting Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. You cannot continue attacking Raila Amolo Odinga. No, let us bring the country together, because umoja ni nguvu, utengano ni udhaifu. Sio maneno yangu, ni maneno ya wahega. Kuwa na siku njema. Bye bye.